Hello my dear students. I hope you all are doing great. In today's lesson, we will learn reported speech. We will also do a worksheet based on do as directed. Direct and indirect speech or reported speech. We may report the words of a speaker in two ways. We may quote his actual words. This is called direct speech. We may report what he said without quoting his exact words. This is called indirect speech or reported speech. Now here in this example, John said, "I have a dental appointment this evening." This is the exact words spoken by John, so it is an example of direct speech. John said that he had a dental appointment that evening. This is indirect or reported speech. So students, in reported speech, make sure of the following points: who is being reported and the time of reporting. Now please note carefully the following points. In direct speech, the exact words of the speaker are put within inverted commas. The first word of the direct speech begins with a capital letter. The direct speech is separated by a comma from the introductory verb. In indirect speech, inverted commas are not used. The tense of the reporting verb is not changed. The question mark and the mark of exclamation are never used. The interrogative, the imperative, and the exclamatory sentences are changed into statements. Now students, there are some rules for changing direct speech into indirect. The first rule is, if the reporting verb is in the present tense or future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech does not change. In the example, we can see Sam says, "I am flying a kite." Now here, says is in present tense. So, the tense of the verb in the reported speech is not changing. It is Sam says that he is flying a kite. The next example is Sam will say, "I want a glass of milk." So, in indirect speech, we can see that it is the verb of the reported speech is not changing. The tense is same. Sam will say that he wants a glass of milk. The next rule is that if the reporting verb is in the past tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech will change according to the following. Simple present becomes simple past. Present continuous becomes past continuous. Present perfect becomes past perfect. Present perfect continuous becomes past perfect continuous. Simple past becomes past perfect. Past continuous becomes past perfect continuous tense. Will becomes would and shall becomes should. Can becomes could and may becomes might. Please note that past perfect and past perfect continuous tense remain unchanged. Students, I have given you a few examples to change direct speech into indirect speech when the reporting verb is in the past tense. You can go through these examples carefully to learn how to change direct speech into indirect. If the direct speech expresses some historical fact, universal truth, or habitual fact, the tense of the verb in the indirect speech remains unchanged. For example, my brother said, the League of Nations was formed after the World War I. Now here we see that it is an example of historical fact. So the tense of the verb in the indirect speech is not changing. We can see that my brother said that the League of Nations was formed after the World War I. The next example is, the teacher said the earth goes around the sun. Now it is an example of a universal truth. So here again the tense of the verb remains unchanged. We can see that the indirect speech of the sentence is, the teacher said that the earth goes round the sun. The next example is, his mother said, I go to the temple every day. Now here it is some habit, it is a habitual fact. So it will change like, his mother said that she goes to the temple every day, and the tense of the verb in the indirect speech is not changing. Words expressing nearness in time or place are changed into words expressing distance. So, if in the direct speech the word here is there, then in indirect it becomes there. Now becomes then. Today becomes that day. Tonight becomes that night. Tomorrow becomes the next or the following day. Yesterday becomes the day before or the previous day. Ago becomes before. This morning changes into that morning. Last night changes into the night before. And students, please observe the chart which is given here for the change of pronouns. You will see that how various pronouns change in from direct speech into indirect speech. Interrogative sentences. While reporting a question in the indirect speech, you need to take care of certain things. The reporting verb is changed into asked or inquired. If the question begins with the WH words or how, the same word is used in the indirect speech to introduce the words spoken by the speaker. If or whether is used to question in the reported speech when the question begins with helping verbs like is, are, do, does, did, has, have, shall, will, can, etc. The interrogative form is changed into the assertive form. Now let us observe few examples of interrogative sentences. The first example is, I said to John, what are you doing? In this sentence, the question is starting with a WH word, that is what. So, the indirect will be, I asked John what he was doing. The next is, the teacher said to him, do you know the answer? Here we can see that the question begins with the helping verb do. Such a question has a yes or no as an answer. So the indirect of this sentence will be, the teacher asked him if he knew the answer. Next is, Sam said to Sonia, can I help you? So indirect will be, Sam asked Sonia if he could help her. Imperative sentences, commands and requests. In reporting a command or a request, In indirect speech, the reporting verb is changed into order, command, advise, urge, request, desire, beg, entreat, forbid, suggest or propose, etc. The imperative mood is changed into the infinitive mood by placing to before the verb. Now let us see few examples. My father said to me, "You must eat healthy food." In this example, it is an advice. So the indirect will be, my father advised me to eat healthy food. The old man said to her, "Please give me a glass of water." The old man requested her to give him a glass of water. He said to him, "Be quiet and listen to my words." He urged him to be quiet and listen to his words. Next kind of imperative sentences are exclamations and wishes. In reporting exclamations and wishes, the reporting verb is changed into exclaim, wish, confess, pray, bless, etc., or into phrases as with regret, with delight, with sorrow, etc. For example, we can see, my boys said, "Hooray, we have won the match." So the indirect will be, my boys exclaimed with joy that they had won the match. The old man said, "Alas, my wife is no more." The old man exclaimed with sorrow that his wife was no more. He said, "May God grant your wishes." He prayed that God might grant his wishes. Students, here is a practice exercise of reported speech. You can pause my video here and you can practice the given sentences and change them from direct into indirect one. Here are the solution for the practice exercise. You can check your answers. Students, I am giving you a worksheet based on transformation of sentences. So while doing this exercise, you must keep in mind the fact that the transformation of the sentences means the conversion of a sentence from one grammatical form to another without changing its meaning. So please take care that the meaning should not change. You can make other changes that may be necessary, but do not change the meaning of the sentences. So you need to do this worksheet in your fair English language notebook. You also need to do page number 9, 10, 22, 23, 82, 83, 109, 110, 130 and 131 of Total English. Thank you, my dear students. Stay safe, stay healthy and keep practicing.